Hello everyone, Nerdy Steve here, and today I will be featuring an Orzhov mid-range deck in Standard. The list is in the description below. I'm going to talk a little bit about the plan of the deck, and then we'll play a couple of games. So, let's go. This is a very familiar skeleton if you've been playing a lot of Standard decks lately. There is a lot of power in white decks that, can play Wedding Announcement and Restoration of Eiganjo and Reckoner Bankbuster. And then there are different ways you can fill out your curve, either going very heavy into Sanctuary Warden. You can also do the Reanimator plan, which I did a video on last week. Or, there's just a lot of different things to do. And so this one is very based white with the black splash for the Phyrexian Missionary kicker. So what our deck wants to do really is we want to get, Spirited Companion out early, get card advantage from that, maybe Phyrexian Missionary to, stall the board and gain some life to allow us to get to a late game where we are replaying things with Serra Paragon and getting a lot of card advantage from casting Serra Paragon, using it to, get a Spirited Companion, or using it to get back a Phyrexian Missionary, which can then be used to get back an Ow or another Serra Paragon, right? And so we're just, doing that over and over again, and ideally we'll also overwhelm our opponent with the power of Wedding Announcement and Restoration of Eiganjo, which will create a lot of creatures and make really big creatures in the long term. And that's kind of the basic deal of this deck. Just like, the Jund decks, we're going for a really long game and hoping that our cards will develop a lot of incremental advantage over time, and then we can overwhelm and kill our opponents. Hopefully. So with that being said, let's go play some games and see how it works out. Okay. This is a little sketchy of a keep. We would like more lands. If we get to 3 mana, we get to Restoration, and that's going to be great. Alright, and drawing that Shattered Sanctum is wonderful. So, because we have double Bankbuster in our hand, we're kind of really planning for the long game here, right? Ooh, Aven Heartstabber, a Dimir deck. Interesting. So as long as there are 5 or more mana values, gets +2/+2 in Death Touch. Okay. Fable. So our opponent is on some type of weird Grixis deck, everyone. I kind of want to do that. Because I think I want to kill the Fable now. Obviously, our opponent's getting treasure, but I think the looting, stopping our opponent from looting is more important here. Like, we could have killed this, but we're gonna have to deal with the Fable anyway, the flipped side of it, so might as well get rid of it now, stop our opponent from looting for 2. The treasure's gonna be a little unfortunate, but we can deal with it eventually. It's fine. Alright, well, there's another Fable. Love that. And then let's get Owl. Now, we really want to get more lands, though. Serra Paragon's also... if we can ever get back Reckoner Bankbuster, that'd be amazing. Our opponent discarded Olivia Crimson Bride, so maybe our opponent's some type of Reanimator deck. I mean, our opponent probably is, so. Cruelty of Gix. I don't love that, because that can get back Olivia, but... Bye-bye, Wandering Emperor. Alright, thankfully, this does have Vigilant. Oh, this has Vigilance too. Our opponent could have double blocked it, but no, we needed to get rid of it, I think. We're gonna borrow Time the Cruelty. Where if our opponent bounces it, that'd be very, very bad for us, but I don't think we can really afford our opponent searching their library for any card right now. Though I am a little worried about Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, but again, the cruelty is much more important, I think, to get rid of. I have no idea what our opponent could be doing, though. There's a lot of stuff going on. Alright, our opponent just said go. We'll draw. Alright, land is nice. Do I want to attack with both? Maybe. Our opponent can kill it with the double block. Opponent could play around the Wandering Emperor, though. Probably won't, yeah. I think maybe that was the wrong attack. I'm not sure. I want to keep that in my hand, though. We're going to probably draw 2 cards here. Tainted Indulgence. I'm, like, really scared of our opponent, getting... reanimating Olivia and, like, bringing back a Titan of Industry, then copying it. That sounds awful for us. Wonder what our opponent is thinking. There could be a lot of cards in hand. I have no idea. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put one of those in your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Our opponent's deck is cool. I've seen some type of Reanimator stuff going around with. Yeah, so it is a Reanimator deck because it has Shieldred's Restoration. And our opponent also has 5 cards, so even Heartstabber can kill our Owl. And Reflection on the Aven Heartstabber will result in card advantage now. Harvester? Okay. Our opponent can give the Harvester haste. Uh-oh. We really need another Wandering Emperor, or a way to remove the Reflection. Let's see what happens here. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Yeah. That's what I was afraid of. So we lose our Owl. Let's get the Wandering Emperor, please, so we can remove this Kiki-Jiki. There we go.
Anyone who harms my people must contend with me. I am almost sad to see you go.
And then we can get back the Restoration. And then end the turn. Again, we're not in the best spot, right? But we're also not in the worst. Our opponent has a lot of cards in hand and a lot of stuff going on. Could potentially reanimate an Olivia and really, really make us want to cry. But we do have a lot of pressure. Our opponent's at 7. We're drawing lots of cards a turn. We're replaying stuff from our graveyard. The Wandering Emperor is dead.
Our swords will cross again.
Another Aven Heartstabber, okay. Ooh. Let's do that. And then we can... Let's draw a card and see what's up here. Borrowed Time. We can Borrowed Time an Aven Heartstabber so we can get in the air. We can Circle of Confinement the Blood Tithe Harvester. We can crew this Bankbuster with the token we created. And our opponent doesn't have that. I mean, our opponent has a lot of mana. Let's not lie to anyone. With only one blocker, though. Our opponent goes to 1 now. And then we can't do anything else. Our opponent is Takanuma-ing. I wonder what, Olivia? Well, Olivia can get what back? Nothing really, right? Only a Blood Tithe Harvester. Right? And that attack, so nothing happens. We have lethal on the attack back. GG. Okay. We'll keep. We'll draw a couple more lands. We have the Bankbuster to help us draw. However, our opponent did an opening of Kamano Faces Kakazan, which, if our opponent follows up with a hasty 2-drop, like Bloodthirsty Adversary, we are in a bad mood, or having a bad time. We're gonna take a lot of damage here. We can do absolutely nothing, and then we need our wedding announcement to work wonders. So we're taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If our opponent follows up by a Kaiju or whatever, we're just absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. I think we need to wedding announcement here. We're gonna go down to 2 life, but here's the thing. Thundering Raiju, please. Alright, we go to 2. Maybe our opponent just has 3 lands in hand. Play with fire, GG. Okay. I think our only out was if our opponent didn't do anything, like only had lands. And then we could Wandering Emperor next turn and gain some life. Normally, I would not include this type of video in this because it's not a lot of the times when games go really, really quickly, it's not particularly conducive to, engaging gameplay. But I think it's important here to note what went wrong. is that we kept... One of the problems with this deck is we are really trying to prey on these mid-range grindy decks, and being on the draw against a very aggressive deck is going to be difficult for us to play or win. If we were on the play, we could have maybe got... The wedding announcement would have been given us a couple more creatures, and maybe we could have, lasted long enough for the Wanderer to gain us life and, to do some cool things. But that just didn't happen here. And sometimes when you are attacking mid-range strategies with another type of mid-range deck, you're going to lose in this type of matchup. And that's just one of the things you're going to have to be okay with. And I'm okay with that. So let's go play another game. Okay, we will keep. We're going to Bankbuster to draw, to start getting drawn. We need a third land, otherwise we're going to fall behind very, very much. And now, let's go. We'll run Restoration into counter Magic if that's what our opponent's going to do. Whatever. Thankfully, it seems like our opponent is on like a Dimir type of control deck, and that's going to be very, very good for us. Because I think with Reckoner Bankbuster, we can really, really come out ahead with a lot of our 3-for-1s. But I don't particularly know what our opponent's deck is. Silver Scrutiny, okay. Now, if our opponent also has 3 or 4-for-1s like Silver Scrutiny, then that's a little sad. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. Dissipate, okay. Then we're gonna activate Reckoner and draw. It would be really wonderful if our opponent killed the Bankbuster there, because then we could have gotten it back with Restoration of Eiganjo. Looks like our opponent doesn't have any more counter magic, though, so we'll get the Plains and Seiko. Oh, Invoke Despair 1. Do we have anything I want? We'll get rid of that. We'll do this. Attack for 4 again. We'll play Eiganjo, and then we'll Ow. If Ow dies, we're going to look at the top 7 cards and hope we can get another Bankbuster, or Paragon would be really, really good too. Let's get rid of Ow. Look at the top 7 cards. Reckoner. Yeah, we'll get Reckoner. Ooh, and this? Do we want this? Oh, Van Helsing's Holy Ward, or the Circle of Confinement, is actually really, really good here. Because now we have an enchantment that we can sacrifice for free to future, invoke Despairs, right? We can Phyrexian Missionary out the Ow. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh. And then we can crew. And attack for 8. Oh, wow. That felt really, really good. That felt really good. Phyrexian Missionary rebuying Ow is just what we're literally dreaming about. What? Okay. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets. Whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell. So our enchantments are still good, right? GG. Well, everyone, thank you for watching me play some Orzhov Midrange in Standard. I loved this deck. So I want to say two things. First of all, I think it's okay to call it Orzhov, even though it is mostly mono-white. Let me know. Because, right, it is white and black. But in addition to that, we did get really messed up by the aggro matchup, and I don't think it is completely unwinnable. You know, if you do have a Phyrexian Missionary, a March of Otherworldly Light, or, you know, a Circle of Confinement early on, you can definitely survive the early turns, right? And if you have a third turn Restoration of Eiganjo or Wedding Announcement, that's also going to be really, really good. And so I don't think it's unwinnable. The hand we kept, the loss against Mono Red, really, it just set us up for kind of failure in that type of matchup. But that is something that maybe to consider in the future. Maybe you can add another Phyrexian Missionary or another couple of early drops if you see that a lot in the best of one ladder. But I think this deck has a lot of legs. It felt just really good. And it felt fun too. Like, there are a lot of different things to do. You know, I always like Bankbuster decks because it gives you a lot of agency in when you need to draw cards, when you need to attack, and it also gives you just a lot of stuff to do throughout the entire game if you can land a second turn one. And this deck has a lot to do. And the Ow with Phyrexian Missionary loop seems wonderful. We didn't really get to see Serra Paragon do a lot of stuff, but it still has the potential to, you know, buy back, right? It can buy back Wedding Announcement or Restoration of Eiganjo. And so you get this really nice recurring engine of card advantage, and that's wonderful. So if that's your thing, I actually think this deck is really good. And there are a lot of different ways you can change out cards. Mage's Attendant is a pretty decent thing, and it's really good to buy back with Serra Paragon and the Wandering Emperor, but I could see myself changing it to another Missionary and maybe like another March, just so we have more interaction early on. But there's also like a sideboard here that will be in the description below that I think might be good for best of three, and that's also going to help with your, you know, aggro matchup. With all that being said, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Great way to help support me and the channel. You can watch me live at twitch.tv/thenerdysteve. And I also am doing coaching now. My MetaFi link is in the description below. And there's like a free introductory session if that's your thing. And with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.